like your website is great, but it's like the leadership itself doesn't have a political website. This is what Senate Democrats believe, and every time there's a bill, there's a blog post or an email blast, so that everybody knows about it. And in that sense, I have a better sense of what they stand for. In this case, with Republicans, they don't stand for. I have a better sense of what the Republicans as a cohesive group stand for in the Senate almost than I do on the Democratic side.
So what would you suggest that they do differently?
I would suggest that they look at Scaling the Hill, which is the Republican Senate leadership website, and if...
But you have to realize everyone's in the Senate Republican leadership. There's only 5.
I know. Yeah, I know.
They have less people in the Republican Party than I do in my freshman class for the Senate. And I think that's the problem, is that everyone's in leadership.
Right.
They all have a leadership position.
But Senator Murray could set up,
She could.
on the political side, the same kind of thing, so there's
She could.
a voice out there, and if someone wants to get it, they can get it easily.
No, they definitely could. And I think, maybe that's where my thinking is a little bit off, is that I have 11 cities and towns to worry about, not 351, when it comes to updates and all that stuff. And that's why, it really scares me that I can be Googled. Like, that just really bothers me. But to the extent that you can, and we can control the content on my website, and I'm not perfect. I will tell you right now, I do things that make people mad all the time. And I do things, and I stand up for my communities, and went head-to-head with Secretary Aloisi at the hearing, and to say you guys just don't get it. But because everything's changing so often, like I said, if I put it up today, 3 days from now, it's not going to matter. And I don't even know how many people check it. I don't even know if people look at it or not. We put it there for people to have, but we don't know. I don't track it, so I don't know.
Are you at all optimistic that the stimulus package will have an effect, so that, say, there'll be more jobs created, so there'll be more income tax coming into the state, so that maybe in a year or so you won't be having these conversations about, not having the money and what we have to...
I think it's going to stimulate and create jobs, but I think we're going to be dealing with this until fiscal year 2012. I don't think next year we're going to be out of this. But again, part of the stimulus package is it goes over a span of like 2 or 3 years. So we could be continuing the conversation, but I don't think it's going to fix it all that quickly.
So is there a sense at least in the Democratic group, well, outside of the 5,
Out of the 35 of us.
but is there a sense of cost reduction rather than trying to find money to fill things that are already going?
I think the reform before revenue is. We're looking to reform before we do any revenue.
Yeah.
That's why our transportation package has no revenue.
But not just to say cutting, like in my mind, cutting the 20 people for mental health programs, isn't necessarily reform or cost reductions when you've got inefficiencies and people using money and getting, all I saw in the blurb was people getting paid and they're not working kind of things, Is there someone looking at that outside of just saying, okay, here's our budget, let's see where we could take 20% off the top of this, 5% here, or whatever? Who's checking all this other stuff out?
Well, the governor has each agency looking at where their cost savings could come. The governor oversees the agencies. We don't have that authority. The governor can cut the agencies. The legislative leadership has been looking at the legislature. I mean, we've scaled back on staff. We've scaled back on postage. We've scaled back on travel, on whatever it is that they've done in the past. So that's our piece of it. But when it also comes down to cost savings, I think we have to balance it. Cutting 100 Department of Mental Health workers, yeah, okay, so you're not going to pay their benefits anymore, you're not going to pay their salaries, but you know what? I can almost guarantee that half those people that were being taken care of by these caseworkers are going to end up in our prison system at $45,000 a year.
Right.
Okay, that's not cost savings.
Right.
Because they're just going to move from place to place.
Right.
So that's where a lot of the questions come, is how can we be more efficient, and how much can people take? Like, how much can we take from them? it's difficult. I mean, I have a background in mental health. I've worked with teenagers who I think are some of the most resilient people that we work with in the legislature, because they're always being bumped from place to place, and they still make it. But at what point do you take the rug out from under them and say, we can't?
Yeah, we did that in the 80s.
And look what happened.
It didn't work.
And we're looking at the same fiscal crisis from well before the 80s. And that's where the difficult questions lie. What can we cut?
Yeah.
And
Well,
what
you know,
do we have to do?
during the election, there's one question that came up in a debate we had down at the church, and the question was about the policemen working, you know, that extra time, and they're getting like all this money, you know, to work, and the thought was, well, you know, we have to make sure our police can get more than what they get as a salary, so they have like someone standing out there when someone's
The details.
yeah, I don't know what it's called. And, you know, they don't do that everywhere. And, you know, people don't die. And I'm just wondering, like, are they looking at things like that, which cost us a lot of money?
We
you
went
know?
to Flaggers. We did it.
Oh, we did? They did? They did? Because I still see detailed police up
It
there all
has
the
to
time.
be, it has to be over 45 miles an hour area,
Oh,
or it has
sorry.
to be some kind of a public safety issue. But we've
Good.
done it.
So they're going to continue to look at things like that cost us extra money that we don't necessarily have to have.
Yeah, you have, you know, I don't think they're going to do a new state police class. You're going to have less troopers around on the streets, which for some people that's good, for some people that's not. I mean, for small towns with state highways, you would want more, I would think, because you don't have such big police stations and police forces. You're probably not going to see as many people stopping you on the highway, you know, because there's not as many police officers. But you are going to, I would not be shocked if we get to the point where no one's answering the phone when you call town hall and they're only open 4 days a week, or when they're open certain hours. And that's when I think people are really going to begin to get upset, is when no one answers the phone. People call my office and tell my staff they should all be fired because we shouldn't waste money on them. And I say, if they think I can do this with just me, you know, they're crazy. I mean, they really are. But it's the toughest thing. The decisions we're going to start making, and the decisions towns are making. You know, there's some people going to 4-day work weeks, and town halls aren't going to be open, and people are saying, well, I need my birth certificate, or I need my this. Well, instant gratification is not going to come. I mean, I think during the storm, the one thing we did learn is that we rely on a lot of things to get by, because a lot of people had a tough time going through that storm, and we were scrambling. I'm telling you, I worked 12 to 14 hours a day in the EOCs, and I went almost everywhere. And we were scrambling to take care of people with medical problems. We were scrambling to get people out of assisted living and into shelters, because the assisted living complexes had gone down with power. We were scrambling to put people in shelters, how to get to people. We had the National Guard going door to door in some instances, because we couldn't call them. We couldn't, you know, go on television. I mean, I said to Channel 7, why are you still here? I keep talking to Boston. No one in my district can see what I'm saying to you, so it's not going to matter what I say. You know, we found out just how much people need these days, and we're going to find that they're going to cut back in the towns.
We'll take 2 more questions, and then we'll let Senator Flanagan go on her way.
That's fine.
Get beat up by some other group.
I'm starting to look good. Just hit the left side.
I've got one. You have a question?
No, go ahead.
To go back to the projects that the towns are going to request from the stimulus package, say they send in 20 requests, how is it going to be narrowed down to 1 or 2 or
Shovel ready.
Yeah.
It's gonna go down to how much it stimulates the economy, how many jobs are created, how much the project is warranted or needed, and shovel ready. Can it get when can the shovel go in the ground?
And is it the committee that you spoke of that will decide, or who will?
It's going through the governor's office. That's where all the projects were sent to, the governor and lieutenant governor. And so there, I guess on the website, and I probably shouldn't talk about it because I don't know, but I guess there's a couple different lists, projects that have been reviewed and accepted, and those that haven't been reviewed yet.